If I was going to mention one character who gets a lot of unwarranted hatred in the games media, my answer would have to be Princess Peach. People often call her a weak character whose only personality trait is being a stereotypical damsel in distress. First of all, shame on you for blaming the victim instead of the kidnapper. If anything, it's Bowser that you should be calling weak. And in regards to her personality, none of the characters are exactly deeply developed in the standard Mario Bros. Games. And they don't need to be, they're just simple non-story-based platformers. In the Mario games that actually do have some story focus, like the Paper Mario and Mario & Luigi series, Peach actually does have a fairly developed personality. And in these games she's been proven to be both smarter and more interesting than some of the quote-unquote stronger characters. And if you want to claim that she should be able to protect herself, since she's the ruler of a kingdom and all that, you need to remember that so is Bowser, and his people are trained for war. Bowser's armies have tanks and cannons and flying battleships. Meanwhile, Peach's people are the Toads, and a Toad is about as competent as a red shirt in a stormtrooper uniform. The fact that Peach can have an entire army of these little morons, and not have it break apart at the seams, is a testament to her abilities as a ruler in itself. So stop harping on poor Princess Toadstool, because I'm about to tell you about someone far more worthy of your anger, and that someone is Princess Penko. Who is Princess Penko, you may ask? Well, she's a penguin princess from the classic Konami arcade game Penguin Adventure, and in that game there was nothing in particular wrong with her. She had been struck with a fatal illness, and you in the role of the heroic penguin Panta had to find a magical apple in order to cure her. No, it was not until the game's semi-sequel, Yume Penguin Monogatari, or if this translation is to be believed, Dream Penguin Adventure, that she showed her true colors. You see, after the events of the last game, Panta has developed a bit of a eating problem, which is probably a psychological result from running all across the world on foot looking for that magical apple. So what does Penko do when the guy who saved her life needs her the most? Well, obviously she says, "Oh, I can't stand fat guys like you, Panta," and then she starts dating this other very obviously evil penguin instead. So yes, the goal of this game is not to rescue a kidnapped princess, it's simply to get the spoiled brat to accept you. By the way, Peach always accepted Mario just the way he was, so that's another point in her favor. Now after all that, let's finally move on to the game itself. Despite the horrible story motivation, you may be surprised to find that this is a fun game. Really fun, in fact. It's just a simple platformer, but it plays really well, just like you would expect from a Konami game from that time. What sets it apart, however, is the weight mechanic. You don't have a health bar like in other platformers. Instead you have a weight bar, ranging from chubby to thin. You can't actually get hurt or die in the game. Instead the enemies will throw pieces of food at you that you of course can't resist eating. If the timer runs out or if you beat a level without being thin enough, then Penko will dump you permanently, which means you have to start the level over again. And of course Penko won't accept you beating the level with a weight rating of normal. No, you have to be thin. In order to keep your weight in check, you of course have to avoid the food that the enemies throw at you. But that's not enough, you also need to collect diet drinks that some enemies drop. There's also a couple of side-scrolling shooter levels thrown in to add some variety from the standard platforming levels. The goal is still to finish with a low enough weight rating though. It might sound a bit chaotic when I describe it, but it's actually a pretty relaxing game. Even with the unique gameplay mechanics, it's super easy to understand and get into, and the difficulty always stays at a level that provides a decent challenge without becoming frustratingly hard. A few of the bosses do up the challenge a bit, but even then the levels are short and fun enough that you likely won't mind playing them again. The relaxed pace is also enhanced by the game's presentation. All of the character sprites are super cute and detailed, and the use of color is really top of the line for an NES game, or Famicom game as the case may be. And of course, being a Konami game, the music is fantastic as well. Maybe not among their best on the system, but still absolutely wonderful and very fitting for the game. Now I feel I absolutely have to talk about how this game ends, so spoiler alert if you for some reason care about that in a game like this. Shockingly enough, the evil-looking penguin that Penko was dating turns out to be evil, so when he realizes that Panta has lost enough weight to make Penko interested in him again, he kidnaps her. But I guess at least Penko will learn a lesson from all of this. Maybe she'll finally understand that it's the heart and not the looks that's most important. No. Just guess what happens if you beat the level without being thin enough. That's right, she dumps you for the guy who just kidnapped her. However, if you manage to lose enough weight and then beat the game, then you'll be treated to the good ending. Panta and Penko fly off together to a tropical island, Penko swooning over the slim and trim Panta. And then, she gorges on a bunch of candy and becomes super fat herself. The end. what else can you say after that? Well, if you do have the ability to play Famicom games, I do absolutely recommend Dream Penguin Adventure. It's beautiful and fun and unique, pretty much everything you'd want from a classic Konami game. And in all seriousness, of course the story is played for laughs, and shouldn't be taken too seriously. Still though, if you suspect that any penguins you know are caught in an abusive relationship, make sure you do the right thing and get them out of there. Please, don't let any other penguins end up like Panta.